Bonjour, nerds. Welcome to Chateau Your Brain on Crack. J'm'appelle Dr. Jordan Breeden, and tonight I'll be your grossly overqualified server. Please have a seat. Our special tonight is... May I interest you in a case of bubbly? No? F you, there's none anyway. Now, are we ready to order? I see you're still looking over the noodle section. May I please first confirm how many robots you've shot in the rain while the wind flapped your trench coat around like a majestic sci-fi flag atop Mount Badass? Or might I see the scar you got from a cyber sniper on Mars? I mean, surely at a minimum you've had a partner killed by a rogue AI, right? Because if not, I'm afraid that this section of the menu is off limits. I mean, if you look at the fine print here. A trend of noodle slurping futuristic badasses can probably be traced back to Gene Roddenberry's Blade Runner, where we're first introduced to Harrison Ford's Rick Deckard as he devours noodles from a dingy Japanese street diner. The scene, which isn't in the original Philip K. Dick novel, is there to establish that in the future, Asian culture has dominated all global culture. As such, Asian cooking is so commonplace that noodles become the go-to choice for gruff, just don't give a what badass detectives like Deckard. It's basically the cyberpunk equivalent of microwaved hot dogs doused with expired mustard. Wrong! This was a new and bold idea back in the 80s when everybody assumed Japan would take over the world, but by the time we got to the almost original series Almost Human, it was a well-established cliche, and also modern sci-fi movies assume that Chinese culture will take over the world, so maybe different noodles.
I'm from the future. You should go to China.
In case you forgot about it, which is okay because almost everyone did, Almost Human is a TV series starring Carl Nerd Trifecta Urban.
You know, if I woke up in the morning and somebody had given me a clean shave, I'd be happy.
He's this gruff, just don't give a what badass detective named John Kinnox, who has a robot partner and literally talks about eating noodles within the first 6 minutes of the first episode.
It's best between 155 and 175 degrees.
And for sure, Kinnox's eating habits can be explained by, to put it mildly, the series taking a lot of cues from Blade Runner, or to put it crudely, Almost Human is so in love with Blade Runner's themes about what it means to be a human that it taped the movie's DVD case to a body pillow with a hole cut right in the middle of it. But before that, the 2004 reboot of Battlestar Galactica also borrowed heavily from Blade Runner's themes about the blurred lines between man and machine and noodles. The show stars Edward James Olmos as a gruff, just don't give a what badass military commander of a space warship. Weirdly, Olmos was also in Blade Runner, first appearing to recruit Deckard while he was enjoying those tasty nudes. Just not the best abbreviation for that word. Oh, and here's Almost enjoying his noodles in Battlestar Galactica. Delicious symmetry. You could argue that because Battlestar Galactica primarily takes place on isolated spaceships, that their crews are just resorting to the most basic foodstuffs, and therefore they've got noodles listed under, breakfast, lunch, dinner, sexual pleasure devices.
Just keeping up with the old exercises.
But that wouldn't explain why Corbin Dallas, Bruce Willis's gruff, just don't give a what badass flying taxi driver character, eats noodles from a flying restaurant in The Fifth Element. It's not because he enjoyed them. Future tough guys don't enjoy anything. They've lost all their taste buds from the moon whiskey and the quantum cigars. No, that scene was there to quickly let you know that Corbin used to be a major in space special forces and that he's destined to defeat a great sci-fi evil literally called the Great Evil. Noodles are a shorthand for that.
Not really.
And finally, she's not necessarily the gruffest of space badasses, but there are few things more objectively awesome than getting an alien abortion. So I think that Elizabeth Shaw from Prometheus and her noodle sucking absolutely qualifies. Oh, and speaking of, one more quick question for you, madam. Are you tough? Do you take no crap from anyone and don't need no man? In that case, might I suggest a nice champagne with ketchup? Or maybe just a bucket of mop water? You seem confused. Are you not aware that Hollywood is under the impression that tough ladies are like some bizarre unclassified species beyond the understanding of normal humans? As such, these creatures are always shown sporting circus-crazy cravings. The cliche may have begun in 1976 with Laverne and Shirley, which was a spin-off of Happy Days exploring what would happen if Richie and Fonzie were actually female roommates and had way more smoldering sexual tension.
They wouldn't let me stay before, but I'm here now.
Laverne is the tough tomboy of the duo, which is made clear not from anything she says or does, but by her constant drinking of combined milk and Pepsi. A concoction only palatable by a grotesque monster armed with both self-esteem and a vagina. Ew.
Can I have one of those?
Next came The Breakfast Club with basket case Allison Reynolds. Allison is confrontational, and she takes no shits figuratively, but also maybe literally because she enjoys sandwiches made of sugar and cereal. Presumably this is because John Hughes was too cowardly to give us the first teen comedy protagonist to eat a live baby on camera.
You won't accept a guy's tongue in your mouth and you're gonna eat that?
Can I eat?
Then we get the 1993 episode of Power Rangers, The Rock Star, where the ass-kicking Yellow Ranger feeds the group homemade brownies with baked-in snails. No, this isn't a comedic misunderstanding where she thought that the snails were chocolate chips or something. This is just what she legitimately enjoys eating. Like, kudos to the show for not making this into a sexist joke about the character being a bug baking ditz in the kitchen, but anti-kudos for contributing to this very specific idea that strong women feed off both weird food combos and the horror of those watching them eat like some sort of gross out energy vampires.
In other words, snail.
But if you want to see the treating strong women like ravenous aliens cliche taken to the extreme, look no further than Starfire from the Teen Titans cartoon, an actual alien with the power of flight, super strength, energy projections, and the ability to enjoy drinking mustard and eating flies. Not even honey mustard, which would attract way more flies and kill two birds with one stone, which she could then eat. And I almost forgot, we do have a vegetarian menu, if you're interested. Can you imagine anything more horrific than eating human flesh?
Not really.
Well, actually, if you're a Hollywood scriptwriter, you'd probably answer, yeah, eating plants. I know a lot of Hollywood scriptwriters. They all say that. Wrong! Now granted, this specific weirdness probably kicked off way back in 1818 when Mary Shelley first published Frankenstein, which made the famed monster a vegetarian. Hollywood immediately followed Frankenstein with Troll 2, a movie about goblins who eat people after first turning them into plants, and also it's about why you should probably think through your titles. There's no trolls.
Oh my God!
There are more monstrous vegetable crazy transformations like the Were-Rabbit in Wallace and Gromit: The Curse of the Were-Rabbit, and in the episode of Hunger Strikes of Dexter's Laboratory, where Dexter turns into a vegetarian parody of the Hulk. Then you have Evil X number 3 from Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, who obtained otherworldly powers of telekinesis thanks to his vegan diet.
Todd's vegan.
And finally, seeing as his primary diet consists of nothing but cookies and fruit, technically speaking, Sesame Street's Cookie Monster is vegetarian. So, half a point? Maybe?
No.
Hollywood should probably be called Scurvywood because almost nobody there eats any fresh produce unless, cocaine is made out of leaves, right?
Hey, get out of here, you piece of shit!
Anyway, on the rare occasion that a broccoli accidentally falls into a character's open mouth, it's only there to demonstrate how offbeat and quirky they are. Fruits and vegetables are the movie equivalent of wacky colored socks or a t-shirt with pants written on it. In the first Pirates of the Caribbean, Jack Sparrow inspects his new crew while holding a banana because running around like he mistakenly took a whole bottle of uncut sugar instead of Dramamine wasn't enough to let us know that Jack wasn't totally right in the head. Now he has a banana? That's so random, that's so wacky. Then you have Sean Spencer from Psych, a fake psychic with a pineapple obsession and an all-around odd douchey duck, which I guess would just be a regular duck because those things will murder you. Speaking of murder, there's Mr. Smith from Shoot 'em Up, a homeless Hawkeye-level marksman with a gun who's obsessed with carrots like a homicidal Bugs Bunny, which again is just a normal Bugs Bunny, and just as wacky.
Do you mean it?
I could also mention the Fifth Doctor from Doctor Who,
What are you, now?
wore a piece of celery as a corsage, as quirky, regenerating, semi-immortal alien gods often do.
I eat the celery. If If nothing else, I'm sure it's good for my
Hell, you could even throw in that old cliche about how cocky guys will just always eat apples in movies. I mean, is cockiness equivalent to quirkiness? I think pairing cock with apples is very quirky. Basically, nobody just eats in Hollywood. Every food must mean something. For example, this means the video is over.